James chapter 1 verse 22 says, receive with meekness the implanted word which is able to save your souls. I've been thinking about this scripture, and particularly the phrase implanted word, and how the scriptures or the word is making me who I ought to be and more Christ-like. Sort of building on to last week's devotional we had on meditation. Hi, I'm LaMohn, and welcome to this week's video on the implanted word. I want to share with you, so what is the purpose of the scriptures? What is the purpose of the word? Well, 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 16 says that all scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect and furnished for every good work. When I think of the word perfect, perfect means to make us what we're supposed to be so that we may serve our destined purpose. And I think it's important for us to allow the word in our lives, the scriptures, to have its perfecting or correcting work in our lives. And I say perfecting because it's an ongoing process. There's always something to be worked on or changed in our lives to make us into who we ought to be and to be equipped for those good works. So again, looking back on James 1:22, at the beginning it says, receive with meekness the implanted word. And reflecting on both these scriptures, I sort of have 4 takeaways I want to share with you. And first is, when thinking of the implanted word, the word is a seed. And then it's our job as sowers to sow the seed of the word into our hearts so that it can take root into our hearts and then produce the life of Christ in us, or to make us more like Christ. And so I'm thinking of James 1:22 about humility and the humility that's needed to receive the word's corrective instruction. And so I think that even as I spend more time in scripture, I'm sure like you too, the more time we spend in the word, the more time we see or notice the things that need to be corrected or perfected into our lives. So it's important to have a humble posture of learning, and for us to also avoid the temptation to resist. Because when we see something to change, like, oh no, I don't want to do that, not now, Lord. But the Bible says that in 1 Peter 5:5 that God resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. So one of the benefits of placing ourselves or walking in humility to the word is that God will give us the grace. And that's the second point, is that we can believe God to give us the grace, the empowerment, to take us every step of the way for his word to make us into who we ought to be. In fact, the scripture says, come boldly to the throne of grace that we may find help in the time of need. And then thirdly, James 1:22 says, be ye doers of the word, not hearers only. And so I think when we're looking at the word and we're reading the word, it's important that we don't try to take on too much or do too much all at once to overload our faith. I think we need to believe God and to show us and to lead us into what areas in our lives he wants us to work on first. And then finally, I'm encouraging us to hold fast. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 2 says, it's encouraging us to hold firmly, hold fast, keep in memory, or continue to believe in the word that we've received and believed. So once we receive that implanted word, let us not allow anything to distract us and cause us to forget the implanted word, what God is looking to do in our lives. So in summary, I want to encourage us this week to say, to position ourselves, to humbly accept the word's corrective instruction, and to go and to God for grace to help us. And in challenging times, let's hold fast to his word so that it can make us into who we ought to be and who we're destined to be. Hey, thanks for listening. I hope you found this message meaningful and useful. I would be really grateful if you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's going to have a message there every week. And please provide any comment or feedback onto any video that you see. I'll definitely review it. And until next week's video, may God bless you and keep you and make his favor shine upon you.